So can you tell me how many hours you put in like every week? I understand that every day is different, but in a week, how much time do you actually devote to your job?
Yeah, like on an average, like typically everybody works for like 8 to 9 hours a day on an average. And like if you multiply it with five, we have around 40 to 45 hours to
Mm-hmm.
spend. But I would say some of the days, it actually depends upon the different situations, etc. But most of the time, I would say Tesco has very good work-life balance. So I
Mm-hmm.
never have to do an overwork sort of a thing. I'm happy to be able. I'm always able to fit my work within those 9 hour window, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
able to do that. So I would say the
Right.
45 to 50 hours is enough for you to be able to do your job successfully.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing I would say is it depends upon your organization skills at the moment. For example, if you're getting five different pings and messages at the same time because so many people are messaging you,
Mm-hmm.
but you know what is important. Like as a product manager, your main job is to prioritize the right thing and only focus on that, right? So when I'm getting so many messages, maybe, or I'm getting emails, and I have to, I'm focusing on some part of the work. It depends upon me how am I prioritizing my work and fitting everything in the 9 hour window.
Mm-hmm.
So I just organize my calendar, my timings, etc., in such a way that I focus on one thing at the same time. And if
Right.
it is extremely urgent, I have to respond to someone, then I will just reply. Otherwise, I'm like, okay, this is more important than replying to this person, so that person can wait in that case. So that's how I make sure that I finish my work during my 8 to 9 hour window and have my own time for relaxation and switch off from the work.
Yeah. So, besides from these 45 hours in a week, what do you do with the
Hmm.
remaining time? Do you have any side hustles, maybe stock marketing or maybe doing managing a business or anything of that sort?
Uh, Not to be honest, like I generally don't, I'm not into the stock marketing or anything
Uh-huh.
like that. But I, besides this 45 hours of the week when I'm actually working, typically working and thinking about the product which I'm working on in the team,
Mm-hmm.
I actually spend some time on different Facebook groups and LinkedIn. They are
Mm-hmm.
actually related to product management. Like
Right.
there is one Facebook group called Product Management India, one group called Product Managers, and there are so many of these groups. So I just keep looking at the posts which people keep putting in to get myself more knowledge about what's happening beyond Tesco, basically
Mm-hmm.
what's happening in different other companies, what sort of problem statements are actually other product managers solving. That helps me that helps me broaden my knowledge and the horizon.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, I just spend some time on these different medium like Facebook groups as well as on uh, LinkedIn as well. And another thing which I would say, like there's this page called Product Career. I would really like to give a shout out of that page. There's this
Mm-hmm.
Product Career page on Instagram, and there's a girl who manages that page. She's a product manager in somewhere in US. I would say, I'm not sure whether it's in California or where, etc.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure, but she's in US. Her page is extremely useful. So I would say if anybody actually looking to move into product management and learn about product management, the posts on that page, product career page, is very useful.
Yeah,
Like,
I'll put
and
that
even
link in
she
the bio.
conducts,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. And even she does some live sessions and keep putting those different videos and different stories which are thought provoking. Okay, what will we do in that scenario, etc. So those ground knowledge is also very important, and those theoretical knowledge which she provides in that. So I just spend my extra time sometimes looking at these things, and when I am very much free, I have done all of that. Even I have done about my job. Then I would like to relax, talk to my family, and maybe
Mm-hmm.
meet friends when things will become normal.
Mm, yeah. So, since you mentioned that, you were, you talk to customers also, can you tell us,
Yes.
how you work with that feedback that you get from the customers?
Yeah, thank you. That's a very interesting question, actually. So there are different ways of getting the feedback, actually. Like we just, for example, you're talking to customers. So it depends upon us, like how we are actually getting the feedback from them. Sometimes you're talking to customer directly on face to face, like I'm talking to you in this meeting. So we can have a bunch of customers or bunch of the selected users and sitting in a call, and we talk to them, listen to their feedback. So I'm not the only product manager in my team. So there are other product managers also. Sometimes we just go and start writing the problem statements, what they are saying, or
Mm,
what are the challenges that they're facing. So sometimes we collect those feedback like just during the call, and make a note of it. And then we have a central location which we have where we store all the feedbacks, all the problem statements that they give. One of the way is that. Another way is actually we have a button, like I think every other application has a button called like report a issue or a feedback sort of a thing, right? So our application also has. So a lot of actually users put the feedback there directly itself, which comes another to the same central location, which we look into it and can analyze it. So these, and then third way to get some more feedback is actually surveys. So we actually send out surveys like Google Forms or Microsoft Forms sort of a thing, and then we pass those surveys to our users, and then they responded. Then we take those surveys back after a certain deadline. We analyze all the feedback which different users have given, and based upon that we take all those feedback again into the same central location. So this is again big part of our job, is actually to collect the feedback. Actually marketing and the sales team, change team is what we call it, they also help us in collecting the feedback and getting the feedback, curating those questions in the survey, etc. That is also very, very useful. They help us in that, and then we put all of them in the one central location. And now, once we have got different sorts of feedback from different channels and different communication media, we keep them in one central location. And from there, that's where the, I would say, very important role of a product manager comes into picture. Now we know so many different kinds of problems that the users are facing. Which one should we focus on? How do we know which problem is more important at the moment to be solved, right? And this is where the prioritization comes into picture. So I would say, as a product manager, prioritization is one of the very, very important skill one should have. And how do you prioritize one thing over the other thing? There are so many factors which play a very important role in prioritization. Some of the factors which I can name is like customer delight is what we call it, or user delight. If I solve this problem or if I solve that problem, if I have to rate the customer delight from 1 to 100, how many people will be happy with, if I solve this problem, say I will say 80 people will be happy, for example. And if I solve this problem, 50 people will be happy, then I would prefer to solve problem which satisfy larger number of the customers compared to the other one. So user delight is one of the important factor which plays an important role. Another thing which plays a very important role is the monetary benefit or the time saving sort of a thing. For example, if somebody is doing some work in some sort of an Excel spreadsheet, or maybe some managing all of this in some sort of emails and talking to users, and there is no one central location of Excel sheets and email, then everything will get lost if somebody is not very organized. So that is a lot of manual admin that person has to do. So that's a big problem statement. So they're spending a lot of time in doing this. However, if there was an organized way to solve that, then the time of that person would be saved, and that person could have used that time in solving better things, or maybe concentrating on his or her job, right? So that's how you see, like, if I solve this problem, whether a time will be saved or not of the users, whether TESCO will be able to make any monetary benefits, or whether we will be able to decrease some cost, or maybe have some more benefit, or some sort of a revenue generation, etc. So these factors also play a very important role when we are actually scaling or scoring a problem statement. Another thing which I would say plays a very important role is actually engineering, like efforts to solve the problem.
Right.
For example, now we know this problem is very important to solve, but then we see that this problem is not also easy to solve. Like, it will take hell lot of work to solve the problem, so much of engineering effort, so much of design effort, testing effort, etc. So those sorts of factors also play a very important role in actually seeing whether a problem is worth solving right now or can we wait, and all those things. And lastly, I would say legal factors play a very important role. Legal factors as in strategy related thing. For example, if I talk about TESCO in general, so TESCO has its own strategy, or TESCO has its own laws. Okay, this is how we're supposed to do the things, and if they change, or there is any law is changed or something which impacts my application, then in that case I have to prioritize, okay, this is going to be important, or law is changed, or some like government has said down, now this is not going to be solved, for example, then we have to make sure that this is not available on website, it is not, nobody is able to buy that stuff. So that certain things are impacted by the situation of the country and all that stuff. So that also plays a very important role. So I would say all these factors, there are my 5-6 different factors which I spoke in terms of efforts, user delight, legal stuff, monetary benefit, time saving, etc. They all play a very important role in actually prioritizing a problem, or one problem over the other problem. We score them. then we see, okay, we'll solve this problem over the other problem, and we communicate back to our users saying that,
Yeah.
okay, thank you for all your feedback. It was really, really useful. But
Mm.
we took feedback from so many different kinds of people, and we see that out of this, I think this problem statement is more important and it's going to impact a lot of people. So we would like to solve this problem first. Another problem we're putting in a parking
Yeah.
lot, or maybe see them
Right. Right.
after some time.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So can you tell us maybe some important apps that you use, apps or maybe tools that you use, physical tools or apps, in order to be a more efficient product manager?
Okay, interesting. So, even like there's no specific other applications that we use. Like I would say, when we are working as a product manager, one thing is very much required is like organizational management skills. So because there are so many things to do, you have to, so how you are managing, like one thing is like maybe to-do list or sticky notes. Like I may be very like oldies kind of a thing, or a schoolboy kind of a thing, but I
Mm.
would still write down my sticky notes and put them in front of my eyes so that I remember I have to do this on this particular date. So maybe to do notes. There are online version of sticky notes also, so that plays a very important role in managing this. Another thing I would say is the calendar, like the
Hmm.
calendar as in any Outlook calendar or Google calendar, etc., where you
Yeah.
actually put your meetings and schedule them. Okay, in this I have this meeting now, then this meeting later, this meeting later. So your calendar should always be having one meeting at a time and should
Mm.
not be having any clashes, etc.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
how do you manage your meetings and calendar? That plays a very important role. And third thing is generally your email management, because you receive so many different kinds of emails and messages. So you need to be able to manage your emails in any good application, Gmail, Outlook, whichever company is using, basically you should be able
Mhm.
to handle that. So you should be, I would say it's all about more of organization skill of a person, how you are managing all of this on your own. And in general, there's not much of a like, there are a hell lot of tools which we use, like we use Jira, we use Miro, we use Trello,
Mhm.
then for surveys we use Microsoft Forms, etc. So you should, and we have to present to a lot of different kind of people, so we have to make a lot of presentations, so we use PowerPoint. So you should be good in all these basic applications and should be able to quickly come up with whatever is required at the time.
Right. Right. So that's a wide
Yeah.
range of apps also. That's cool.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
from what I understand, a product manager is, it's a pretty important role, and if you want to be a product manager, you need to have some good communication skills. You need to understand everything about everything, and you need to be dynamic and techy enough to understand and use modern technology for more efficient outcomes. Is that right?
Yeah, I think you summarized it pretty well.
Yeah. So this was such a valuable episode. This has so much information. So, yes, with that note, I would like to end the episode. Thank you so much for joining, Kapil. You shared some really important, interesting knowledge here.
Thank you so much for having me here. It was really good to meet you and share my knowledge and experience with the people. Thank you so much.
Bye, guys.
Bye bye.